Okay, now that I'm recording this video about the Israel question as it pertains to Palestine and Hamas, I just basically wanted to give you the right nuanced take on this. Now, basically what has been happening is that the Palestinians and or Hamas, right, the separate group that is in the Gaza Strip, is basically sending rockets to Israel, trying to kill them, obviously. So the Gaza Strip is right here. It's very dense, and they've been bombing the area around here, which is why the Jews have a wall to keep the Palestinians out. Now, if you know any background about the situation, you would know that they've been, killing each other for decades, and it's not something that would be easily solved. And because of that fact, we must be pragmatic if we're going to have a solution here. Now, a lot of people say, well, why would you support Israel, the Jews, Jews, control, Jewry? Yeah, I get it. But ultimately, if you were in the position of the Jews, you would want to take over the Palestinian territory, in its entirety. And if I were a Palestinian, I would want to also take over the land that the Jews have. So because of that, I see both of their objectives, in principle as being okay. But the issue is that obviously they can have conflicts with each other. And, it's one land, but it's shared between many peoples. And because of that, there has to be some final solution. Now, that final solution would probably include having a very small repressed minority Arab population under the severe, sovereignty and control of the Jews of Israel. And that's something that I would support. And the fact is that simply these people living together is not tenable. So if you were to give them, yes, yeah, you can have the Gaza Strip, sure, you can have part of the area east of Jerusalem, the city, then yeah, that could be something that you can meet. And the Biden administration wants to have a two-state solution. I don't see that as being the case. I'd rather a one-state solution where the Israelis have sovereignty over pretty much all of Palestine and relegate the Arabs as second-class citizens. Because I just really do not want these Palestinians to live in Palestine. I don't want them there. It is very obvious to me that if the Jews cannot live in Palestine, they must go back to Europe. And I don't think that would help the European states. I don't think it would help America if we had more Jews here. Further diversity would just breed more problems, and I just rather them have their own country. And the fact is that in order for them to do that, they need to be able to keep what they have so far. Now, we have several millions of Jews that live in Israel that are in constant threat of being bombed by RPGs and other, shit grenades from the Palestinians because the Palestinians don't have much to fight with. And I see it all the time where people say, well, the poor Palestinians are being bombed by the Israeli jets. And it's like, okay, and what? So if you were in their position, would you not do the same? Okay? And to the people that say, like, oh, Israel's constantly under attack. Well, it also makes sense why they're getting attacked. Because, of course, they are on land that used to be Palestinian and Arab. Now, I don't really care that it used to be Arab. What I do care is that the Israelis currently control it. And because of that fact, I think they ought to keep control. Why? Because it is not only politically more expedient, but it's also what I think is right. I feel as if I just really do not want more instability in the Middle East. And for the contrarian wignats on Twitter that say, like, oh, we need to support Palestine, you're fucking retarded, dude. The Palestinians are the enemy of the Christian people, of the white people. Muslims are not our friend. I think personally that Islam is really bad. And yes, the Jews are going to hell too, right? I mean, they don't accept Christ and all that, but the Islam is disgusting. Muhammad is a pedophile. He's in hell right now. But anyway, the point is that neither of these people are our friends, so to speak. I don't think the Jews have much in common with us compared to the Palestinians. I don't see them either as our ally or as our foe inherently, okay? I want to be completely Machiavellian and pragmatic, okay? That's the only way you can do this in real life. Now, once you put all principles aside, the fact is that the Israelis are the people that are most benevolent in keeping control of Palestine, as well as it would be the easiest thing politically to support. And of course, there's going to be people on the far right and far left that support Palestine. And, these people are dumb. okay? People that are populists that support Palestine are being fools. Palestine, in part, survives off of money from stupid Bernie bros, okay? Self-hating Jews, people that are anti-Zionist. And I'm not even pro-Zionist necessarily, but the fact is that this is a place that ought to be under control of Jews, okay? And not to sound like Ben Shapiro, but that's just the way it works. That's politically what makes sense. These Muslims are not anybody's ally. They are in it for themselves, and so are the Jews, but ultimately helping the Jews would help us. And then there's the other third decision you could do. And I have friends that tell me this, and it's, well, how about we do absolutely nothing and we don't support either side? Well, first of all, that's not real life. Yeah, sure, we could not deploy troops there, and I don't support using any military action to support Israel in this case against the Islamic states, but what I do support is rhetorical support, diplomatic support, and that's the whole charade of politics. It's to have this, like 60-year-old white guy, be ambassador, secretary of state, and say, oh, I support you, I support the people of Israel, God's chosen people. That's the whole charade. And I do support them saying that. I do support them insofar as rhetoric goes, because we need to. How the hell are we going to have peace in the Middle East while we keep flip-flopping on who we support? Okay? If we consistently support Israel, then we're going to have consistent results for good or for worse. Whereas if we're going to be like Obama, where we're all like trying to kiss up to Iran, that helps us none. Why? Well, for example, Iran. We try to kiss up to Iran so they don't produce nukes in 2015. Then what happens? Ultimately, they start funding Hamas. And Hamas is that terrorist group in the Gaza Strip which bombs Israel, which causes even more internal conflict in Palestine, which in turn forces us into a weirder position. And because of that, I simply support Israel in most cases. And I'm not saying like I love Israel. Look, the Jews are not Christian. Okay, so I could never support them religiously in that respect. And personally, I am not Jewish. I don't support Israel, like in a visceral level. But I will say that politically, it is the best thing for us to do. Like, for example, I don't care for Ukraine, but supporting Ukraine politically makes sense over letting the Russians, pillage eastern Ukraine and take it for themselves and all that. So again, just use pragmatic politics. Machiavellian politics is the way to go if you want to get anything done. Again, we're not talking about principle, what is morally the best decision, but I do think that overall supporting Israel in this case diplomatically is the right decision, and isolationism is not going to help. Okay, for example, if Trump has supported Israel so strongly and he was able to get peace with like 7 different Arab countries, and he got them to sign the Abraham Accords, which basically acknowledged Israel's right to exist as a nation. That Abraham Accord lowered the chances of war in the Middle East substantially, and because of that, we ought to continue that. And if we're going to flip-flop and say, well, you know what, fuck it, Palestine is right, yeah, no, Israel doesn't deserve to exist, then all the progress that we've made under Trump for Israel and for peace in general would be for nothing. And because of that, we ought to keep the track and keep the faith that, supporting Israel would work. And honestly, this whole, oh, well, Israel's a democracy, we need to support the West. No, fucking, I don't care if they're a democracy. Okay? Look at the democracy in the Gaza Strip. It elected Hamas. So democracy is not even a good thing in and of itself. Alright? That's not a virtuous thing necessarily. So, again, I really need to stress, this is the pragmatic take. The pragmatic take is to not send any... Look, I don't support foreign aid for Israel. There's benefits to it, but overall, I do not support foreign aid. Let's not give the Jews, or the Israelis to be more precise, let's not give Benjamin Netanyahu any more money in foreign aid. Let's not help them militarily speaking, but let's, for the sake of charades and politics, have the president do a 5-minute speech calling for a ceasefire. Have the president support the Israeli effort in general. Why? Because then we can have a stronger coalition that would bring peace to the Middle East ultimately. At least that's the way that I have it in my head, thought out. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching my video. And again, the 10-second summary for this is that I want you to subscribe, and I want you to nominally support Israel, though not very sincerely, because I don't care either way. Anyways, bye.